Kurt, October 11th, 1973 was the first of several encounters for your father. One I would like to speak with you about specifically is May of 1974, Mother's Day, when you were with your father and you had a sighting with him and several other members of your family. Would you tell us about that?
Oh, yes. We were traveling back from Jones County, coming back Mother's Day up at my grandmother's house. And we had come out of a little town called Sochi there, headed back. And I had noticed a light back over to the right. I was real young then and kept on watching it to come on around the car. It was still a pretty good ways off. And it come on around to the left there and kind of slowed down. It kind of got closer to us. And then my brother-in-law was driving the car. He had slowed the car down some. The light had got brighter and come on around and come in front of the car. I would say 500 yards off, and just kind of hovered over the road, like enough where you could tell the lights and see what it looked like and all. After he kind of like was going to speed back up, it kind of picked back up again, and off to the right, it went back off to the right again, and you could see what it looked like it had landed back in there with them tall pine trees there. And it was something that I won't never forget. I can always say that I've seen one for myself, you know, to know that they are real.
And your dad, he tried to get out of the car.
Right? He tried to get out of the car, and my mother, she was all in hysterics. She didn't want him to get out. And after she had done about to went in hysterics, he decided, well, he wouldn't get out that time. I reckon he figured his mind there would be another time.
But later on in that year, or the early part of the next year, in January, I'm really an outdoorsman. When I'm not working, I do a lot of fishing and a lot of hunting. There happened to be a tree farm there close by my home that to about 750 acres that I spent a lot of time on in hunting and fishing. There's a fine stream with a pond there. But I had gone back in there fishing, hunting in January, and I was sitting down under a hickory nut tree, squirrel hunting, and this same craft that Calvin and myself had seen in Pascagoula came down in an area close by me. And up until then, I was very frightened. I was afraid to go out at night by myself. I didn't know what was going to happen. But they just seemed, I was sitting down under the tree, it just seemed a voice came to me that to not be afraid, that they didn't mean me any harm, that they would be another place at another time. And it frightened me all of a sudden, but then I immediately got up and went straight home. My wife was alarmed that I didn't continue my hunting, so I told her what happened. But all the fear was gone, that these things didn't mean us any harm, that I thought in the future I would get to meet them. And in the May of that same year, in Mother's Day, we had gone up to my father's farm up in further up in Mississippi to spend a day with my mother. And we were coming home late at night, my wife and myself and three of our children, and we had a terrible experience. They thought it was terrible. We were coming in a area that was not very populated, a wooded area off the main highway coming home, and there was a light that kept following us. And later on, it came around in front of the car and was coming down in the road to land. And when my wife saw it, she just became hysterical. And my youngest daughter at that time, she was a baby. In fact, she graduated high school this year. She came along late in life. But anyway, she was quite young, and she was asleep, and it alarmed her, and she had awakened and was screaming. My wife was screaming. But this craft moved back up into the sky, and it moved around to our right, and moved out into a field, and came down and lit the entire area up, and had a row of lights all the way around the craft. Well, we had stopped the car by that time, and I was trying to get out of the car. I knew it was my time to meet them. And before I could get out of the car, my wife was screaming, and my youngest son, and she held me and wouldn't let me out of the car. So then the voice came to me again, this is not the time. It'll be another time. And we left. My wife became so hysterical that we left, and I could see, looking back, that the craft was still there, hovering when we left. It was a lot larger craft than what Calvin and myself had seen. But anyway, they wanted to, someone wanted me to call the Key to the Air Force Base. But I said, there's no use. There's no use of notifying anyone. There's nothing anyone can do. It's something I have to handle myself. So we didn't tell anyone about this over a period of years. And a lot of things that I can't talk about is kind of personal, that we've had other encounters since then. It's come to a point now that the tree farm that I had mentioned, there's very few people that goes into that area. And when I've been there many times, I go there many times now, and that's where these things contact me. I have a feeling that I have to go there. When I go there alone, I go there for that purpose. And they have painted a beautiful picture to me that what a world could be without pollution. That we were on the verge of destroying ourselves on nuclear hydrogen energy. And if we didn't stop this, if this wasn't stopped or something wasn't done about our environment, that we would be destroyed again. But I think now that it seems that there is being something done. We notice the threat of nuclear or hydrogen energy is beginning to fade a little bit. Communism is going away. People are taking more interest in our environment and the pollution that we're putting in the air. Excuse me, I'm just a little bit hoarse. But I think we are going to see a world change that we're going to find answers to our pollution of our environment. I think the threat of nuclear and hydrogen energy will go away. These things have told me that this is something that's way out. I mean, it's hard for me to stand before you and tell you this. But it's something I've kept to myself for a long time. But there's an energy out there that we haven't discovered yet. It's an energy that, for instance, the movement of the planets in our universe, in our solar system, there's an energy that moves these planets. And I think they've learned how to tap this energy. It's something that's there, it's free. And I think in the days to come, in the very near future, that we're going to tap into some energy that's going to make everything else obsolete. I think we're going to see a much better and a more beautiful world to live in. And also, I'd like to say, while I'm talking with you, that being reared a hardshell Baptist in South Central Mississippi, we simply lived in our own little world. I didn't believe or even think about these things until this happened to me in Pascagoula, Mississippi. I certainly didn't believe in reincarnation, but I believe in reincarnation now. I think I've lived before and I'll live again. I think this world it's been destroyed several times. Our civilizations has been destroyed. It was on the verge of being destroyed again. But I think we're going to make it now, from what I can, on the indications that I have. But it's something that has really, I'm not a religious fanatic, I never have been, but I certainly believe in God, and I think that God in all of his greatness didn't only create this little world here, he created all those worlds out there in this universe and the ones beyond. There's no end to it, it's a revolving thing. And I also believe that we were planted here, that something that's greater than we are, that come under the jurisdiction of God, has us here as an experiment. We're indirectly from God. And I believe that maybe the experiment might work this time, hopefully. So I'd like to leave you with that, but I'm open to any questions that anyone might ask. But I would like to say this, that it's made me a lot better man than I was back before 1973 to know that there are life out there And there's a good possibility that that life is going to help us grow into something that will never be an end.